We hope you will choose to join us for an in-person presentation in the future so that we will have the opportunity to meet you face to face. Please understand the goal is not to scare you during the following current trends update, but rather we hope that you will learn a few new things to assist you when having conversations with your child. Keep in mind you do not need to be the expert on each item we present. One suggestion may be to take one day each month to focus on one substance to become more aware of than you were before. Cigarette rates are at an all-time low. Public health approaches are working, and adolescents tend to have a strong perception that cigarettes are harmful. One form of smokeless tobacco that has become more popular is snus. These spit-free pouches of loose tobacco come in various flavors and can be easily concealed. As you will note, many of the tins they are sold in look like mints. Juul is one of the most popular vaping devices, and as you see, looks very similar to a USB when being charged. The bottom left are additional vaping devices. Electronic cigarettes and other vaping devices have skyrocketed in popularity the last couple years. Pictured on the bottom in the middle are Black & Milds, which are flavored little cigars, cigarillos. These are popular on their own or as a method for smoking marijuana blunts. Lastly, a traditional hookah is pictured on the bottom right. While it appears that cigarettes are losing their cool factor, interest in experimenting with vaping devices is high. Many teens who report using e-cigarettes say they tried them because it was cool, fun, and new. Since these products are so new, we do not have the long-term studies to show the potential health risks that could be associated with use. To help better understand the potential health risks, this slide compares the amount of nicotine in one pack of cigarettes to vaping devices and hookah. Please keep in mind these are approximate averages of nicotine. Each product varies and would then increase or decrease the comparison. The average pack of cigarettes will contain 240 milligrams of nicotine. The average vial of juice will contain the same amount of nicotine to that of a pack of cigarettes. Many bottles may state there is little to no nicotine, but we caution users as this may not be the case. As previously mentioned, juuling is a term that most high school students have heard of. Each Juul pod contains the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. A 45 to 60 minute hookah session can expose the smoker to the same amount of tar and nicotine as one pack of cigarettes. Remember, this is not meant to scare you or judge any of your own personal choices, but rather to educate you to share with your adolescents that these are not safer. Marijuana use has been increasing for the past several years. Legalization, decriminalization, and discussions surrounding medical marijuana have reduced overall perception of harm. However, because of the evolution of the cannabis industry, the plants of today are stronger and more dangerous than ever. The strength of this drug is leading to young people needing to enter treatment for dependence more than ever before. Marijuana can be consumed by eating, smoking, or vaporizing. Edible marijuana has become a large industry in states where use is legalized. There are cannabis K-cups, sodas, candies, and baked goods, to name a few. Edibles tend to have more unpredictable effects since the users do not feel the peak high for 2 to 3 hours after ingesting, often leading some to overdo it. Another method for ingesting THC is through concentrates. Through a multi-step process using highly flammable butane hash oil, manufacturers can extract strong concentrates of THC, which can then be vaporized using various devices. These concentrates are often referred to as wax, dabs, shatter, butter, or BHO. Yes, you heard correctly. Although a dab is a popular dance move, this is also a marijuana concentrate. And when my 9 and 10-year-olds see this dance move on clothing, they ask, "Do you think parents know that a dab is really marijuana?" Now you do. This slide helps to reiterate the drastic changes in THC levels from when many of us were in school to today. THC is the mind-altering chemical. Note that the average joint in 1978 contained 1.3% THC. Fast forward to 1995, and the average joint contained 3.7% THC. Fast forward a few more years, and we are talking about 13% THC levels. The concentrates are even more alarming, as wax, butter, and shatter can range from 40 to 80% THC. Hash oil is used similarly to nicotine juice and is odorless, which is a drastic change from years ago. So what are the dangers of marijuana? The 4 dangers I will discuss tonight include the increased risk of addiction, the impact on learning, how marijuana use can impact operating a vehicle, and the impact on mental health. Research suggests that about 9% of people who use marijuana develop an addiction. This rate nearly doubles to 17% when marijuana use begins during the teen years. Among youth receiving a substance use disorder treatment, marijuana accounts for the largest percentage of admissions, about 55% among those 12 to 17 years old. Negative effects on attention, motivation, memory, and learning that can persist after the drug's immediate effects wear off, especially in people who use regularly. As for driving, marijuana impairs judgment and many other skills needed for safe driving: alertness, concentration, coordination, and reaction time. Marijuana use makes it difficult to judge distances and react to signals and sounds on the road. Although scientists don't yet fully understand how the use of marijuana may impact the development of mental illness, high doses can bring on an acute psychosis or panic attacks. In people who already have schizophrenia, marijuana use can worsen these symptoms. Also, evidence suggests that early marijuana use may increase the risk of psychotic disorders among those at higher genetic risks for these disorders. Alcohol continues to be the highest reported substance used over the course of an adolescent's lifetime. However, most teens are not using alcohol regularly, based on the Monitoring the Future results from 2017. 92% of 8th graders, just over 80% of 10th graders, and almost 66% of 12th graders reported they did not drink in the past 30 days of being surveyed. However, every day in the United States, more than 4,750 kids under the age of 16 have their first full drink of alcohol. Youth who start drinking before the age of 15 are 5 times more likely to develop alcohol dependence or abuse in their lifetime than those who begin drinking at age 21 years or later. Now we will discuss over-the-counter and prescription drugs. To assist with visual recognition, the top left picture is OxyContin. In the top middle are Xanax bars. To the far right on the top is a visual of Adderall. On the bottom left, you will find Robitussin. On the bottom middle is Coricidin cough and cold medicine. And lastly, on the bottom right is prescription cough medication mixed with Sprite, also known as Sizzurp, Lean, or Purple Drink. When prescription drugs are abused and taken in different amounts or for different purposes than as prescribed, they affect the brain and the body in ways very similar to illicit drugs. There are 3 kinds of prescription drugs that are commonly abused, and these are opioids, depressants, and stimulants. Opioids are painkillers like Vicodin, OxyContin, or codeine. They are highly addictive and expensive. Addiction to these pills are a leading factor in the heroin epidemic our country is experiencing today. Depressants are used to relieve anxiety and help a person sleep, such as Valium or Xanax. Stimulants are used for treating attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, such as Adderall and Ritalin. Some people will abuse these medications without a prescription to give them a leg up academically. However, studies have found that stimulants do not increase learning or thinking ability when taken by people who do not have a diagnosis of ADHD. When examining over-the-counter medication abuse, one of the most surprising to me was cough and cold medicine. However, I learned that several cough and cold medicines contain ingredients that are psychoactive, mind-altering when taken in higher than recommended dosages. Abusing cough syrup can cause loss of coordination, numbness, feeling sick to the stomach, increased blood pressure, and faster heartbeat. When DXM is taken with decongestants, in rare instances, a lack of oxygen to the brain may occur, creating lasting brain damage. Prescription cough medications may contain an opioid drug called codeine, which stops coughs, but when taken in higher doses, euphoria is produced. Some abuse this medication by mixing it with soda and hard candies and using it as a party drink. Its abuse can cause slowed heart rate and slowed breathing, and high doses can lead to an overdose and death. To prevent this from happening, it is important to keep these under lock and key and safely dispose of prescription and over-the-counter medication. Also, encouraging other adults to do the same, including grandparents.